I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. In compliance with the Open Public Meeting Act, Chapter 231, Laws of 1975, the State of New Jersey, adequate notice of this meeting for the South River Board of Education was provided in the following manner. On December 6th, the notice was delivered to the office of the South River Borough Clerk's Office and posted at the Board of Education Administrative Building. On December 6th, the notice was fax mailed to the following newspapers: Home News Tribune and the Star Ledger. On December 6th, the notice was posted at the South River Borough Clerk's Office. Mr. Rosa, if you could do roll call, please.
Mr. Basin.
Here.
Mr. Butson.
Here.
Mrs. Bush.
Here.
Mrs. Byrne.
Here.
Mrs. Lau.
Here.
Mr. Nielsen.
Here.
Mrs. Sadowski.
Here.
Mrs. Young Yao.
Here.
Mrs. Urbanik.
Has been excused.
Emmanuel Becerra.
Here.
We have a call.
Okay, we have some minutes to review, and I'll let Mr. Rosa go over all of those for everybody.
Yes, so we have November 16th pre-meeting minutes, for November 20th the special meeting minutes, and also for November 20th the regular meeting minutes.
Okay. Looking at the minutes, does anybody have questions, comments, or edits that we need to take note of? Okay, seeing none, I need a motion to approve the minutes.
Nielsen, approve the minutes.
Mr. Nielsen, and a second?
Second.
Ms. Lau, and an all in favor.
Aye.
Motion passes. Okay. All right, we're going to move on to the use of facilities, Mr. Rosa.
Okay, so we have three. Number 1512, Deca Dance Competition. Number 1541, Spotlight Dance Academy. And number 1544, Borough of South River.
Anybody with questions about the use of facilities? Okay, then we need a motion
Move the use of facilities in accordance with board policies. Second.
and a second with Mr. Nielsen, second by Mr. Bazak. All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, and that motion passes as well. The financial report. Ms. Lau?
Thank you. Be it resolved that the Board of Education hereby certifies that it is in receipt of the financial report, which indicates that no major account has been overexpended and that sufficient funds are available to meet the district's financial obligations for the remainder of the fiscal year. The Finance Committee recommends that the reports of the Board Secretary and the Treasurer of School Monies for September 2023 be approved, and I so move.
That's first by Ms. Lau.
Second.
By Mr. Nielsen. Any questions or comments? All in favor? Roll call.
On table.
All in favor?
Aye.
All right. At this time, I'm going to turn the program over to Dr. Zurcher for her superintendent report.
All right, thank you, Mrs. Bush. There are three items on the agenda under the superintendent's report. One is a confirmed HIP for the board to review and approve. Two will be a presentation by Mr. Crouch that he will begin shortly. But my superintendent's report this month really includes some of the exciting celebrations that we've had this month, including National Honor Society, where we inducted some of our students. None of our students were inducted. We had a celebration at the Portuguese Club, and also where we inducted our Wall of Fame recipient as well. Great ceremony there, and we have all the details of that included in my superintendent's report. I have a note in here about Denny Stadium, which is closed through mid-January for construction. We have locked the gates to the stadium as we have our construction company prepare and deliver equipment that will be used for the eventual demolition, pending all of our permits and approvals for that project. So please be on the lookout for more information regarding Denny Stadium and when accessibility will be open again. We look to be able to reopen the stadium and specifically the track as soon as possible. Most of that demolition is happening while students are out and staff is out for winter break in order to close or to cause the minimum possible distraction there. Our curriculum fair, we always hold it in May. Please reserve, hold the day for May 23rd is the potential date for our curriculum fair. I say potential because sometimes our snow day schedule can impact our school calendar. But as of right now, that date is for May 23rd, and we're already beginning many of the preparations needed for that day, including the Star Lab, including all of the displays, the showcases, performances. It's going to be a great night once again, and we're looking for another surprise for this year's curriculum fair, which we'll talk about a little bit closer to that time. This month really has been a day to celebrate the upcoming holidays for sure, but also really a day to think about giving to others that are less fortunate than we are. And our students, our staff have really been participating in so many activities, food collections, gift collections, have really put in a lot of time, a lot of effort to give to others, and we have such pride for that. And of course, all of those culminating fundraising activities and all of those efforts will lead us eventually to once again our day of service, which will take place again at the end of the school year. But it really shows us that our children and our students are dedicated to giving up their time, their efforts for others. And just really happy holidays to our board, to our South River families. May this holiday season really be filled with happiness, joy, and all that you hope for the upcoming new year. With that, I'm going to turn it over to Mr. Crouch so that he can begin the annual report for our school safety data system, which is the required mid-year report. Okay. Yeah, a little bit.
Thank you very much. Bear with me for one moment, please. So I'm going to be presenting this evening on the Student Safety Data System Report for the HIBs that have been going on during the past several months, from the window of January 1st, 2023 to June 30th, 2023.
It's not on the table. You can't change screen.
I'm going to carry the microphone over and just do it from the
That's
machine. I
perfect.
think that'll be easier. So as I just said briefly, we're going to be looking at January 1st, 2023 through June 30th, 2023, and basically looking at all the statistics that we have from that window. So what is it? We're going to be looking at district-wide HIB training programs, primary school data, elementary school data, middle school data, and high school data. This includes anti-bullying, Bill of Rights, suicide prevention training, HIB prevention and intervention, as well as HIB characteristics, and then the different types of HIB programs that we have. Steps to Respect, there are 3 different types. We have Week of Respect activities, as well as school violence awareness activities. So when we look at the primary school for this window that we were looking at, we have seen the same amount of alleged HIBs, which was 0. We had 7 HIB trainings inside of this window period, and we saw 18 HIB programs running at the primary school with no actual HIBs, which is wonderful. In the elementary school, we did have some. We had one incident which included a confirmed HIB. We had others leading to removal, which was 10. We have alleged HIBs, which were 5 but unfounded. We had 3 HIB trainings as well as 4 HIB programs that were going on. Our numbers match from last year. In the middle school, we did have 19 incidents of HIBs that were confirmed. We had 8 leading to removal or punitive punishment. We had 0 alleged. We had 2 HIB trainings, and we had 4 total HIB programs. In the high school, we had a total of 16 incidences of HIB. We had 21 that led to a removal, and we had 5 alleged, and we continued on from there. I wanted to draw the point really quickly because I think it's important to know that we have seen a reduction in almost all of the buildings in our HIBs, which is a good sign, and I hope that we can continue that trend moving forward. And some of the things that we have going on are we have increased our social emotional learning programs, since this window period was marked down. We have multiple different ways that we're reaching students with crisis and need. So we're using ESS, which is Effective School Systems. We have a full-time clinician here in the high school. We also have a new full-time clinician from Rutgers Behavioral Health Care that's based inside of the middle school, which is wonderful. We continue to partner with Care Solace, which is a great program that allows us to offer people who don't have access to mental health care free access if they don't have insurance, and if they do have insurance, they're willing to work with them and get them set up with the services that they need, which is fantastic. We also continue to have our therapy dog program. The primary school has been really on fire for getting these kids aware of what's wrong and what's right and how to directly deal with harassment or intimidation or bullying and shy away from it. Amanda Wance has really done a terrific job in getting the kids motivated and unified in this need to move forward. As you can see, I've put a couple of different programs. She's got different things going in multiple different weeks inside of the window that we're reporting upon. Really great little programs, and the kids, like I said, really eat it up. The elementary school is also doing the same thing. We have a substitute fill in right now, and she's doing an amazing job. She's really doing great with the kids and has put some really cute ideas together. I think one of my favorite was May the 4th be with you. We hear it all the time, but she actually brought it into the school, which is really cool. She also, every one of the schools did an Autism Awareness Week. We had Read Across America, Mental Health Awareness Week, and many other programs going in the elementary school. The middle school also did a lot of different things, from their Spirit Weeks to Random Act of Kindness Week. That's all just programs to try and get people to understand how important it is to care for one another. Autism Awareness Month was a big deal, and we got a lot of different programs going with a full week's worth of activities for the students. And in the high school, we have also continue to have our calming program, our virtual calming program. We have online ways as well as in-person ways for people to meet with our counselors should they have any problems. And another thing that I really want to highlight that we are doing here is we've always had our National Drug, Get Rid of Drugs Week, which is really awesome. But we had joined together with a program called Aspire about 2 years ago to stop vaping, and they've now expanded that program since the legalization of marijuana. And it's a really great program that's really working with the kids. It's not like, don't just do this. It's why don't you do it? And it allows them to interact with the student assistance counselor, which is amazing. So we're seeing a lot of really positive motion forward with the students in that direction. And then, of course, we always have our Mental Health Awareness Month, and that is all focused with our SAC here in the high school, Lauren Driscoll, who works both in the high school and in the middle school. And that's the long and short of the report. I want to wish you all a happy holiday from myself and my family to all of you. Yes, sir. Removal can be anything from a detention to a suspension or anything along those. We do not remove in the sense of expulsion. That just doesn't happen. Anyone else from the board?
One more item that is really just so recent that it was too new to add to this presentation is our anonymous alerts, which the board approved a few months ago, where students are able to, and parents are able to alert us if there is any sort of incident related to a mental health issue or bullying or any sort of safety or security concern as well, where people can report information to us that we can then follow up on and address accordingly. And then, of course, to our ongoing RCS program, where we do our restorative community service, where many of our students are provided a community service activity in lieu of suspension, and they receive their pre-counseling session and their post-counseling session to discuss that RCS activity. So those are some of our newer components that didn't make it into this period that Mr. Crouch had to cover, but certainly ones for you to be aware of as well.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Crouch.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr.
Thank you,
Kraus.
Mr.
Enjoy the
Kraus.
holidays, sir.
Merry Christmas.
And with that, I conclude my superintendent's report for this month.
Okay, thank you, Dr. Zurcher. Before we move any further, we have to approve the superintendent report. Anybody with last-minute questions or comments?
I have some, a comment here. I'm glad to see that, like Mr. Crouch said, that our numbers are going down. And I think it's, the administration really needs to be brought out. Because again, back in October when we were down for school boards, I sat in on a couple of these classes that talk about these things that we've already implemented. And a lot of districts don't. And to see these programs that couldn't have been included in tonight's agenda, that we're always out in front of everything. And I think it says a hell of a lot about our district, how caring our staff is, that we're not waiting for it to come to us. We're going out and getting it, and we are ahead of the curve on this. And I think they should all be congratulated for the effort that the staff and everybody else puts in. That's all I have to say.
Thank you.
May I add something? I want to take a moment to, on behalf of Kim Stewart and the Booster Club, she would like to extend her gratitude for the collaboration that she's experienced with the district, specifically this year since she's been taking over. If you read in Dr. Zurcher's report, it mentioned the donations of items and auction. And with Mr. Rosa, she's become like a staple up at that field. But she was able to procure the words Denny Stadium, some of the markers. There was an auction site that was put up this Saturday, so that the benefits will 100% go through Booster for the success and the future of the program. And her intent is to expand the scholarship base for more students with representation from more sports. That's the goal. Like, so if somebody says, well, what's the goal of the Booster Club between this year and next year, while she maintains access to that's the goal of the club. And it's nice because there was some misinformation out there that I appreciate you referenced in your report, how it was donated. She's appreciative and thanks the board, the district, the administration. And the other part was how there might have been a little misconception that the South River Historical Society was not contacted. So they were contacted. She does have 2 items just in case set aside, in case they change their mind, because it became that they are low on space and they were mentioning pictures. But just in case anybody at the board level hears anything, there is something set aside that might be of a smaller size that she can, gladly donate back, since she received a donation from the board and the district. So I just wanted to say thank you for including that and the follow-up steps and the amount of time that Johnny and Mr. Blashta have had, because he's her point of contact, but she's very thankful for everything that the district's been able to do in terms of athletics at the high school level, with the potential for scholarships. So thank you.
Anybody else with any questions or comments? Okay, then I need a motion to approve the superintendent's report.
Nielsen,
Mr.
move the
Nielsen?
superintendent's report is read.
Bezak, second.
And Mr. Bazak? All in favor?
Aye.
Okay. Passes. Okay, at this time, we will entertain the first reception of visitors. The public may address agenda items only. Please come to the podium and state your name and address. And remember to keep your comments to a 10-minute time limit. At this time?
Not for our meetings.
Correct. This is just for agenda items only. Agenda items only. So, all right, so seeing none, we're going to move on to the consent resolution. So the South River Board of Education by means of, this is you, Mr.
Yeah.
Rosa. I'm
Yeah.
like, wait a minute, I didn't say
Yeah.
this, all you.
All right, so the South River Board of Education, by means of a consent resolution, adopt various resolutions of a routine and non-controversial nature at one time. And whereas the below listed resolutions are hereby adopted by the said Board of Education in whole, as if the same were individually acted upon. And those are the Superintendents of Schools Report 3.2 to 3.3, under Finance 8.1 through 8.15, under Instruction 9.1 through 9.4, under Policy and Legislation 11.1 through 11.6, under Human Resources 12.1 through 12.21, under Safety and Risk Management 13.1 through 13.5.
Okay. Questions, comments, anyone needing to abstain from any resolutions? Okay. Then I need a motion.
Nielsen?
Mr.
Move.
Nielsen,
Second?
second by Ms. Sadowski. And a roll call, please.
Okay. Mr. Basa?
Yes.
Mr. Butson?
Yes.
Mrs. Bush?
Yes.
Mrs. Byrne?
Yes.
Mrs. Lau?
Yes.
Mr. Nielsen?
Yes.
Mrs. Sadowski?
Yes.
Ms. Young Yao?
Yes.
Motion passes.
All right, so we will move on to our committee reports now. So, Mr. Nielsen, Buildings and Grounds?
Mr. Balage's report is in the monthly report from the superintendent. As you can see, he and the staff have been kept busy. And that's all I have for tonight, Madam Vice President.
Okay. Any questions on the Buildings and Grounds report? Athletics and extracurricular, Mr. Butson.
There's nothing on the agenda for this month.
Okay. Did anybody, I'm just going to comment because my daughter brought it up the other day. Laz Rodriguez, did we see has 2 D1 offers for football?
Oh, I did not see that.
Yes. Florida,
Wagner.
I can't remember the right Florida one. International, Florida Atlantic,
I don't know. I know it's
Florida
Wagner.
A&M, Florida A&M, and
Wagner.
Wagner.
I'm like, I can remember Wagner.
Yes.
And the other one was Florida something.
So congratulations to him, and I
I can
look
remember.
forward to seeing some really great things coming out of him, so maybe
Very
some
good.
more even.
That's great.
Yep, he's on his Instagram page. Okay, finance, Ms. Lau.
Thank you. We have, there were additions. There are 15 items to read into record this evening. 8.1, approve, apply, submit grant applications. 8.2, approve, submit, accept Elementary and Secondary Education Act Consolidated Grant Application Carryover Funds Amendment for the fiscal year 2024. 8.3, approve, submit, accept the 21st Century Community Learning Centers Grant. 8.4, approve contract Ed Data Cooperative Purchasing Provider 23-24 school year. 8.5, approve, submit, accept grant ESSER 3 Consolidated Application Amendment. 8.6, approve contract Responsive Classroom Host Site for the 23-24 school year. 8.7, approve contract No Reading Corp. ELA program for the 23-24 school year. 8.8, approve contract Marilyn A. Kubicek, MD LLC, Pediatric Neurology Consultation Services Provider for the 23-24 school year. 8.9, approve contract French and Perillo Associates Professional Services, Engineering Services for the pre-K classroom extension. 8.10, approve contract DI Group Architecture LLC, Professional Services, Architecture Services, pre-K classroom extension. 8.11, approve budget transfer withdrawal from capital reserve in the amount of $295,000 to capital outlay. 812, approve tax requisition. 813, approve line item transfers. And the two additions at the bottom, addition approved contract, the Common Market local food for schools vendor for the 23-24 school year. And 8.15, addition approved contract McGraw-Hill LLC Alex program for the 23-24 school year. The only other thing that I wanted to mention was that I guess we had a presentation at night where discussion of the 21st Century Grant might have occurred. And a lot of people in the community who were not aware about the grant, I got a little more informed about the grant. With that came additional questions that there was some misinformation about. So they may be reaching out, for the accuracy of the information to your office because it was like little pieces that they were not sure of based on information that from community members that did attend the information session. So that was nice that people were able to speak to the grant, to speak with our Right at School, I guess, and I don't know what the right adjective is for that, like relationship with the grant. Partnership, that's a better word. And then everything that's coming of it. Some of the parents of the athletes actually were saying how they like the fact that the kids are forced to do homework because they'll go in first to 21st Century and then they will go. And it's nice because they don't have to worry about them coming home from the practices and then saying, I'm too tired to do homework. I'm too tired to do this. Because they are tired, but they're teaching them how to reposition their time, like their time management skills in a more conducive way once they go home. So then they can focus on eating and everything else. So that was nice to hear from the community. Good. So thank you. That is all I have. If anybody wants to add anything else, feel free.
Anybody else with questions or comments for Ms. Lau? Okay, for the instruction committee, there are 4 items. Approve professional development and travel expenses for the 23-24 school year. 9.2 is to approve field trips for the 23-24 school year. 9.3, approve the district student observers interns for the 23-24 school year. And 9.4, to approve the disposal of musical instruments. Just a couple things, just so that the board knows. Earlier today, we had an instruction committee meeting with Dr. Zurcher and Dr. Trevisano. We went over a lot of information, and I'll just give you the shortened version, some of which Dr. Trevisano already put in his monthly report. Program of studies is being worked on. Added a lot of really cool courses coming up. In addition to some really good electives, we're going to continue on with American Sign Language 4. So that is really great. I know we have a lot of interest there. We're adding 2 additional AP level courses, one in science and one in STEM and computer science. We are now moving into our performing arts area and growing that department as well. So we're looking to add 2 new dance classes, an intro to dance and an advanced dance, and expanding our ceramics class to a full year, and expanding our introduction to fashion. So not only will they be creating as far as drawing fashion, but then they'll be actually producing what they draw. At least that's my understanding, as well as business law. So just so that everybody is aware, that program of studies is going to be out and about soon. It'll be posted on the website for everybody to view. We also discussed
Creative writing course.
the creative writing course. Yes, that's right. I forgot about that one, that it'll be a full year course. And in the second half of the year, we're looking into publishing the creative writing in different genres.
Having students publish their work.
Yes. So that is really cool. I forgot about that one. Just as a side note, the SAT prep class we talked about, because that is a course that we are going to be pulling, keeping in mind that many colleges are now test optional, and you can take that course through our grant program, or 21st Century Grant, so they can still take the SAT prep course and still take additional courses. A couple other things we talked about. You're going to see lots of revisions for curriculum, because by September 2024, we have to have math and ELA current with the new standards. That would also include the science and social studies, he said, as well. So there's going to be probably close to, he said something like 200 some odd curriculum
revisions.
that will need to be revised. So look for some postings and some updates on that. And then we talked about some test scores and preschool. Just had a generalized conversation, more to come in the future. And that is all I have on the instruction committee. Wait, I apologize. I noticed that we approved a really lot of field trips, if you noticed, but I also have to highlight that in December, they started planning for the return of the grade 5 overnight trip to Camp Mason.
Yes.
That was in his report. I have to make sure I say that.
Yes, the information on that trip is going out right after the holiday. Parents will be receiving a packet of information related to that trip.
Okay, and that is all I have for this evening. So, any questions, comments? Okay, then,
Not now.
at this time, do we
No,
do
we'll wait for the public comment at the end.
the public comment at the end? Okay. Mr. Part, negotiations, though.
Yes, we have SRAA negotiations coming up. We've exchanged base data and ironed that all out with the union and the NJPSA. The union, they have a new president, Dr. Bouchard, the high school principal, is the new president of the SRAA. They have agreed to provide us with their proposals in early January. Then the reconstituted negotiations committee will discuss that, and we will provide responses, and then we'll have our first face-to-face meeting. So we'll get that process going and completed before the contract expires on June 30th.
All right, thank you very much. Ms. Byrne, policy and legislation.
We have 6 items for tonight. 11.1, adopt second reading revised policy number 3327, relations with vendors. 11.2, adopt second reading revised policy number 3542.2, school meal program arrears. 11.3, adopt second reading revised policy number 3542.31, free or reduced price lunches and milk. 11.4, adopt second reading revised policy number 5132, student dress and grooming. 11.5, adopt second reading revised policy number 6145.3, publications. And 11.6, second reading revised policy number 6164.1, intervention and referral services for general education students. And that is all for this evening.
Any questions on policy? Okay, seeing none, then we're going to turn it over to Mr. Bazak for human resources.
Thank you. 21 items on the agenda. Item 12.1, approve resignation for retirement, Valerie Olcott, high school science teacher. Item 12.2, approve resignation, Gina Scarita, preschool paraprofessional aide. Item 12.3, approve disability sick maternity family leave, Caitlin Santaniello, high school guidance counselor, 2023-2024 school year. Item 12.4, approve disability sick maternity family leave, Amanda Wantz, primary school guidance counselor, 2023-2024 school year. Item 12.5, approve disability sick maternity family leave extension, Courtney DeMaro, primary school special education preschool teacher, 2023-2024 school year. Item 12.6, approve appoint Keller Pinto, elementary school teacher, 2023-2024 school year. Item 12.7, approve revised additional high school co-advisor, 2023-2024 school year. Item 12.8, approve teacher leaders, 2023-2024 school year. Item 12.9, approve rapid initiative program staff, 2023-2024 school year. Item 12.10, approve elementary school Wilson language after-school tutoring program, 2023-2024 school year. Item 12.11, approve payment for 7th period class coverage at the middle school, 2023-2024 school year. Item 12.12, approve 21st Century Community Learning Center program staff, 2023-2024 school year. Item 12.13, approve elementary school co-curricular advisors, 2023-2024 school year. Item 12.14, approve chaperone FBLA conference overnight stipend 2023-2024 school year. Item 12.15, approve additional site worker 2023-2024 school year. Item 12.16, approve appoint Tiana Dominguez, middle school, high school speech language pathologist 2023-2024 school year. Item 12.17, approve Camilla Miazio, assistant school business administrator, assistant board secretary 2023-2024 school year. Item 12.18, approve contract Camilla Miazio, assistant school business administrator, assistant board secretary 2023-2024 school year. Item 12.19, approve appoint professional development turnkey presenters 2022-2023 school year. Is that correct? Okay. All right. Item 12.20, addition approve appoint Sylvia Zercher, representative to the Representative Assembly of Educational Services Commission of New Jersey. And item 12.21, addition approve Michelle Klausner, secretary, Office of Special Education, 2023-2024 school year.
Okay. Any questions for Mr. Bazak? Okay, safety and risk management, Mrs. Sadowski.
Thank you. There are 5 items on the agenda for this evening. Item 13.1 is to accept the 2023-2024 bus drills. Item 13.2 is to approve route number 2070 to South River High School, the Educational Services Commission of New Jersey for the 2023-2024 school year. Item 13.3, approve route number T205 to Montgomery Academy, Educational Services Commission of New Jersey for the 23-24 school year. Item 13.4, approve route number T206 to South River Elementary School, Educational Services Commission of New Jersey for the 23-24 school year. And item 13.5, addition approve annual review of the memorandum agreement between education and law enforcement officials. And that's it. Thank you.
You're welcome. Sure.
12.19 in HR is not correct.
So we are going
Professional
to,
development turnkey presenters, it's for this school year. So we will make that change
okay, so it
on
should
the
be
agenda.
23-24 school year.
The resolution is correct, but the title of the resolution is just incorrect. So we
Okay.
can fix that.
Okay. All right, any questions for safety risk management for Mrs. Sadowski? Okay. School community relations, Ms. Youngyo.
Thank you. We're going to talk about first the 2023-2024 Governor's Educator of the Year program. Congratulations to the following staff members for being selected to represent South River in the Governor's Educator of the Year program. Visit our social media page to view the winners' profiles. For Governor's Educator of the Year, high school, Michael Lepore, physical education teacher. Middle school, Rebecca Job, special education and science teacher. Elementary school, Kelly Robinson, grade 4 teacher. Primary school, Ruby Gale Mangione, special education teacher. And for the Educational Services Professional of the Year, high school, Raquel Ruggiero, American Sign Language paraprofessional. Middle school, Dawn Supfin, guidance counselor. Elementary school, Amanda Johnson, school psychologist. And primary school, Amanda Wantz, guidance counselor. So congratulations to everyone. Also, congratulations to the middle school Students of the Month for November 2023. If you were interested, their pictures and along with their certificates are on the Facebook page of the school. That's all.
Okay, school board and borough council liaison, Mr. Nielsen.
Nothing to report. Hopefully, we'll have something at our reorganization meeting in January.
Okay. Mrs. Sadowski, PTA.
I have a couple of updates. So at the primary school, they had their snowman soiree. That was last Friday. It was a huge success from what I heard. There were a lot of kids that attended, a lot of families that attended. I do believe that the Rutgers A Cappella Club did perform a couple of holiday music performances. They are also extending their spirit wear into mid-January, so if you're looking for sweatshirts or t-shirts, that's still on sale. You can look on their Facebook page for the link to their website. They are planning a Valentine's Day dance. I don't think the date has been set yet, but I know that they are still working on planning that. At the elementary school, the holiday shop was last week, and both of the PTAs are already planning for Fun Day and other end of the school year events because we are almost in January. So they are planning fun days and teacher appreciation and moving up ceremonies and gatherings, and I think that's all I have. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Butson, South River Public Library Liaison, please.
Well, today, the Santa Claus is at the library starting at 7 o'clock. Tomorrow at 4 o'clock is Build a Gingerbread House. January 9th, you're having their Friends of the Library meeting. From November 30th to December 7th, we had interviews, 7 people, the candidate for the retired library director. On December 12th, we picked the winner, and tomorrow is our meeting to officially appoint her. That's all I have.
Perfect. Thank you. Student Board Representative, the floor is yours.
Okay, so these past few weeks have been quite eventful, but they were as well successful. So we had the blood drive, and as Dr. Zercha said, we had a lot of fundraisers. So I heard that the Pocket Bingo in collaboration with the AFBLA and the Student Council were a success. We had the toy drive, the movie night. We're now having the holiday weeks in the schools to give them the holiday spirit. I want to highlight, which I really appreciated, and I'm pretty sure that a lot of other kind of more introvert students appreciated, was the website for the anti-bullying, because I know that sometimes students can be a little bit ashamed to go or scared to go up and report something. So I really appreciate that. I think it was a great idea. So thank you for approving that. And I was thinking about it, that maybe in the future we may come up with something to create maybe an awareness or motivation towards voting, but focusing on the younger people, because the event with the feud really stuck in my head. And I think that if the younger people of the town had, done their part, maybe we would have fixed that. So I think it's very important, and I hope that in the future we can do something about it. But overall, I guess we're all just very excited for the next year's events and plans, and that's it.
Great, thank you. Okay, any older new business before the board? Attorney's report?
We'll have a executive session discussion.
Okay. Then we will turn it over to Ms. Love for the payment of the bills.
Yes. The Finance Committee recommends that all bills presented, having been certified by the School Business Administrator Board Secretary, be paid as listed, and I so move.
Okay. And then I need a second.
Second.
Mr. Nielsen. Roll call? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Motion passes. All right, so at this time, we will call for our second reception of visitors. The public may address any concern or comment that they have for the board. Please make sure you come to the podium, state your name and address, and please keep your comments to a 10-minute time limit.
My name is Norman Scheinberg, and I live at 24 New Street. And I'm going to continue today a little bit more on the statistics I did last time on school shootings. I also have some other things which we'll talk about the effects of SROs in schools, but I don't know if I'll get to them today. I'd like to give this out. These are just pages that I gave out before. I only have 11 copies, and there's 12 people. Last time there were fewer. These 2 pages were given out before. We didn't really get a chance to go over all of them. And remember, last time I mentioned, in fact, every time I think I was here, I mentioned that no student has ever been shot and killed on a New Jersey campus. None. 0. Certainly, there's 50 years of good data, and from what I can find, probably in the entire history of the state, no student has ever been shot and killed on a New Jersey campus while the school was in session, anywhere on the campus. By the way, this particular year, the school year is half over for the school shooting databases. They begin in July and run to July. So in about 2 weeks, it'll be 6 months. During that 6 months, I looked through the databases. There's not been a single student shot and killed on a New Jersey campus. 50 million students, 100 million schools, not one shot and killed. Oh, sorry, I misspoke. Not one shot and killed in a school building. There were 4 that were shot and killed at the edges of the school. It would be kind of equivalent to being on Johnson Street in Willett. There was students were leaving the school or coming in before school. But no one has been shot in a school building this year. There were 4 students total shot, but they weren't quite in the school. They were coming to school or leaving school. Imagine that, 100,000 schools, 50 million students. You know, they normally talk about murder rates in murders per 100,000, several per 100,000, in our country and a few less in other countries. If you were going to talk about murder rates for students, you'd have to talk about murder rates per 10 million to make any sense. And given that over here, I'm going to go over some statistics. It starts over here on per year deaths of children and teens. Killed with a gun in this country, the data I found is between 1,500 and 2,400 homicides in the country as a whole. You'll hear on the news that there are 4,000 children killed, that children killed now exceed that in automobile accidents, but keep in mind they're fudging the numbers a little bit. They're including suicides and other things. A good number to pick is about 2,000 killed. That's not that much different. It's 2,000, 4,000, it's a huge number. So there's about 2,000 killed. How many killed in school shootings? I went over this before. I gave graphs from multiple school shooting databases, and the number will range between 10 and 25. The number of students is so small that if you look at this page, you'll see a line over here. This is a bar graph that I made in the margin. At the long line, it says all gun homicides of children and teens. This is when the students walk out of school. This is what they're killed. That little tiny nub at the bottom that you can barely see, that's school shooting fatalities of students. It's virtually non-existent. We're in a very violent society, but not in schools. Schools are 100 times safer than outside of schools. There's a little bit of math there. It gives you 100 times safer. If you want to keep your kids from being shot, bring them to school. Don't have them outside. How about leaving them home? Well, it's a little hard to get the data for home, but there's about 200 accidents and homicides with guns at home or in their friend's house. If you want to pick the largest number for gun homicides, these are average numbers. Obviously, if you have a rampage shooting, it can be up at 30 or so. But you pick 20. Then it turns out school is 10 times safer than being home in terms of being shot. And if you want to include house fires, the last line there is house fires, you have about 300 kids die in house fires, none in school. FEMA says that basically school fires are over. The fires themselves aren't over. Fires do occur in schools, but no one dies. So if you include house fires, the school is 25 times safer than being home. This is miraculous. We have found a way to end all crime. Just send people to school. I'm being, of course, a little facetious, but that's it. But yet parents are extremely worried about the safety of their children in school. I speak to them. In fact, I told one parent that no one has ever been killed in New Jersey under the conditions I gave, and she got worried, saying we must be due for one. That's crazy thinking. She seemed to think that the more heads in a row you flip, the more likely the next one's going to be a tail. But that's not the way probability works. Each toss is independent. So if there hasn't been a lot of shootings in the past, we shouldn't expect any in the future. The past will predict the future unless something has changed. By the way, as far as that, people think it's changed. They said, look at all, one parent said to me, everybody's got guns these days and shooting. I said, but look at the statistics I presented you guys, that the actual number of murders in school, students, while the school was in session, has actually been dropping from the 1990s. Those are the 2 graphs I gave out at my first handout. From the 1990s to 2019, the number of dead students is less, not much less, It would look a lot more impressive if you normalized it based upon the population, because the population has grown 30% since 1990 to 2000. About every year, it grows about 1%, the population. So there's actually less number of students. By the way, the number of school shootings reported in the school shooting databases continuously goes up. Isn't that amazing? The number of school shootings keeps going up. 10 times, 20 times higher now than maybe 15 years ago. Yet the number of deaths has gone down or remained the same. What it is, it's a reporting problem. Things are being reported as school shootings now that simply weren't reported before. To give you an idea, this is just a fictitious thing. Two men, you read a newspaper article. Remember, all these school shootings come from newspaper articles. So a newspaper article reads, the police state that two men on Montgomery Street got into an argument. One pulled out a gun. Two men on Montgomery Street in South River got into an argument. One pulled out a gun and shot the other. The perpetrator was later captured. If it was reported today, it was reported this way, saying two men on Montgomery Street in front of South River High School got into an argument. One shot the other. The school went on lockdown for an hour. The police caught the perpetrator. The second one becomes a school shooting. The first one is not. In fact, there was a headline. I mentioned to somebody there had been no school shootings in New Jersey. He said, it can't be. He said, I heard about one in Paterson. So I went on the web to look at Paterson school shooting, and sure enough, the headline says, this exact headline, Paterson student on East Side High School shot, dies a few days later. That's probably what he heard and what he saw. So am I wrong? No, I read further in the article. He was shot grocery shopping. So why didn't it say teen shot? Why didn't it say Paterson teen shot and killed, dies a few days later? Rather, it said Paterson student from East End High School shot and killed. These are the kind of things that's happening. It has to be reporting bias. I can't figure out anything else. Why the number of shootings keeps going up and the number of deaths goes down. Okay. At any rate, we should be celebrating how safe schools are. Whatever people did for schools is amazing. And it's not armed police officers that do it. Okay, I mentioned that when I tell people, and I mentioned this last time, that nobody's been shot and killed. There's never been a rampage shooting in all of New Jersey. They always claim, but it could happen. Remember, I gave that could happen speech. That you can't base anything on the fact that it could happen, because anything that doesn't violate the laws of nature could happen. More students are actually struck by lightning than killed in schools. As many students will be killed, the data are on the web, from falling branches, tree branches, as will be shot in school. And you could prevent students from being killed by falling tree branches. Just have the town cut back all the tree branches that hang over the sidewalks. You have to cut down most of the trees, and there are ways to prevent people from being hit by lightning. If there's going to be a lightning storm, demand the students go to school in a vehicle. Vehicle's completely safe, or close the schools if you're so worried. People would laugh at you if you did that. In fact, people even make jokes about being hit by lightning because it's so rare. But being killed in school is even rarer. Okay, now I'm going to give out a little bit more time. I got 2 minutes to enough.
Just to give you a heads up, you have just over a minute left.
Okay, then I have to give this out next time. Next time I'm going to talk about, the other thing I talked about, let me just mention this again because I have a minute. When do you consider it could happen? Well, if you're going to consider it could happen, you have to look at 4 things. I'm going to look at one of them next time because I don't have time now, and that is you have to look at the probability of the thing occurring, the consequences of it occurring, the cost of preventing it, and the effectiveness of the chosen mitigation method, assuming that you want to mitigate it. It's something bad. I went over the probabilities. It's minuscule of a school shooting. The consequences and also the probabilities are you can expect a school shooting in a school in New Jersey, in a school in South River, a single school in about 5,000 or 10,000 years. That's how unlikely it is. And about every 200,000 years a mass shooting. Did you ever hear about anybody worrying about the 10,000-year floodplain or the 200,000-year floodplain? Well, you do worry about things that occur once in 10 or 1,000 years or 200,000 years if it's going to wipe out your civilization. But what are the consequences of this school shooting? Since most school shootings, one person dies. Every 10,000 years, you have a dead body. Every 200,000 years, you have a shooting, a mass shooting. You have several people dead. The consequences are negligible. What's the cost of preventing it?
And I'm going to stop you there.
The cost of preventing it is enormous. It's going to be several $billion a year. And next time, we're going to talk about that the SROs are ineffective. And many studies.
Okay.
Okay.
All right, well,
Thank you.
we will see you next month then. Thank you.
Why don't you just give me another 10 minutes and I'll give out the other one? You can do it. You can take a vote and you can say, okay.
We have exec session to get to.
We have executive session that we need to begin.
Well, you can delay it for 10 minutes.
No, Dr. Zurcher, we're moving forward with the agenda as planned.
Yes, thank you.
Okay. Thank you. Okay, so exec session. The public is going to go into executive session to discuss the terms, the items under attorney-client privilege, negotiations and personnel. Actually, we're going in to discuss personnel.
Personnel.
Okay, so I need a motion to go into close.
Nielsen.
I need a second.
Second.
By Mrs. Sadowski. I need a roll call.
Mr. Basin.
Yes.
Mr. Budson.
Yes.
Mrs. Bush.
Yes.
Mrs. Byrne.
Yes.
Mrs. Lau.
Yes.
Mr. Nielsen.
Yes.
Mrs. Sadowski.
Yes.
Mrs. Young Yao.
Yes.